Hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry if the lighting is a little off. It's a very dark day. It's about to start raining. A nice dark doom and gloom kind of day. And I've had a question going on in my head recently. And I'm going to ask you, what books were you required to read in school? I would really like to know. So if you could answer down below, what was the book that you either least liked, or did you like any of them? It was something that my daughter and I were talking about recently, and it all started because of the movie Wuthering Heights coming out. And I've been thinking about the books that I had to read. The earliest one that I can remember is a book called Manhattan is Missing, and that was in 7th grade. I actually liked that book. It was about a man, I think it's either his cat or he's cat sitting for somebody. And the cat gets out, and the cat's name is Manhattan, and they live in Manhattan. And so he's running around the city of Manhattan calling for the cat, and it was just funny. It was silly. That was middle school. In high school, I had to read a lot of the typical books for people of my generation, like Odyssey. That was a brick. Wuthering Heights, like I mentioned. Pride and Prejudice. To Kill a Mockingbird. My husband had to read Of Mice and Men. The Outsiders. Now, I did really like To Kill a Mockingbird, and I liked Pride and Prejudice. But otherwise, I did not like any of them. And I was not a reader. It was pure torture. And I, to this day, even with the books that I liked, I have no idea how I passed the exams or essays that I had to write on any of those, because I do not remember anything about those books, and I don't remember knowing anything about them at the time. I'm one of those that would read a line, and then my mind just kind of goes on and on and on. My eyes are still reading, but I'm thinking about all sorts of other things. I have no idea how I passed anything in high school when it came to required reading. So I asked some of my friends what were the books that they had to read when they were in school. Joy Luck Club, Lord of the Flies, Catch-22, Diary of a Young Girl, so all very typical kind of books. And one of my friends asked her friend, and she had to read Ender's Game. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard somebody required to read Ender's Game. Our kids are all of about the same ages, and they had to read Because of Winn-Dixie, James and the Giant Peach, Great Horned Spoon. I never did read that one. I read the other two. They read those in elementary school. In middle school, they read things like Walk Two Moons, Fahrenheit 451, which I did read when my daughter had to read. In high school, they had to read Great Gatsby, Frankenstein. My son read Beowulf. I don't think my daughter had to read Beowulf. Catcher in the Rye. My daughter read Scarlet Letter, but my son read The Importance of Being Earnest, which he actually really liked. They both had required summer reading. My son was given two choices over the summer, either The Kite Runner or Their Eyes Were Watching God, which is why I own The Kite Runner, because I thought he was going to pick that one. And when I saw it for sale at the Friends of the Library bookshelf, I bought it. That's how long I've had it. My daughter had a much bigger list. And I swear it was 5 to 10 different choices that she could have picked from. She picked The Firekeeper's Daughter. I asked her whether she liked that book, and she said, no, not really, but that's because it was required. That if she had just picked it up on her own, that she might have liked it. And I'm not debating whether reading literature in school is important or not. I kind of half-heartedly Googled some information. Something like just over 50% of kids in elementary school say that they read for fun. But by the time they get to middle school, it's more like 17%. I don't know what the statistic is for high school kids, but I'm sure it's even lower. And those numbers are a little bit old. And of course, we want our kids to read these books. We should all be reading these books. They're great for... I Googled, why do we read these books? I did really extensive research, I'm telling you. I Googled, why do we have kids read these books in high school? And it said critical thinking, of course, empathy, sure, cultural awareness, while expanding vocabulary. Diverse perspectives, absolutely. Timeless human experience. I thought that was a really interesting one. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. And thought-provoking. Good conversations that you could have in classrooms about all the different situations that they are going to read. All of this is just really a long-winded way of me saying that I am going to read Wuthering Heights. The movie's coming out, and I have been thinking about it because I did have to read Wuthering Heights in high school. And And what do I remember of it? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Other than that there's a guy named Heathcliff, which I thought was funny because to me Heathcliff was a comic strip cat. I'm going to read this nice brand new copy the library has, Wuthering Heights, and I thought I would invite you with me. I have it on audio, but I want to physically read till I get into the groove of it. Plus, you're on my phone, and my phone has my audiobook, so they're not going to mix. Okay, I'm on page 14, which is at the end of chapter 2. Everything seems so vaguely familiar. I mean, I did read it, many, many, many years ago. But I'm being reacquainted with everybody. It starts off with Mr. Lockwood. Mr. Lockwood is a new tenant, and Heathcliff of Wuthering Heights is the landlord. He's meeting him on the first day. He comes back the second day uninvited, even though he did announce that he was going to come. Heathcliff is very direct, kind of rude. We've met Mrs. Heathcliff, and we've met Mr. Earnshaw, and Joseph, and Zillah. It's all just introductory, and we're really getting a sense of what a weird home life this Heathcliff has. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's a little hard. I've had to back up a few times. I'm going to put in the audiobook, and I'm going to keep going, and I will fill you in when we get to the halfway mark, and I will probably check in with you tomorrow. All right, so I'm at I'm at 48%, and I have been listening to it. I am struggling a little bit. I don't dislike it, but I'm not exactly liking it either. I still have a really hard time understanding what Joseph is saying. Anything I don't understand, I stop the audio and I read a page or two in the book. But I'll keep going. If I had gone a little bit longer, I would understand. I think it's chapter 4 or chapter 5 where we get the full breakdown of who's who. The two narrators are Lockwood and Nellie, who is Ellen Dean. She's a housekeeper at the house where Lockwood is, and she's narrating how everybody came to be. Like, it starts off with Heathcliff when he's young and the family that he's living with, and it's going. I'll keep going with it. It's early still, and I'm about 48%. I may or may not finish today, but I'll give you an update tomorrow morning. Okay, I think I have finally figured out who's who, what's what, and where's where. And that's because I looked it up and did like a family tree thing, and that really helped, which I probably should have done earlier. Maybe I would have gotten a little bit more out of it, but I think I understood what was going on through the whole book. But I am done. It's early morning, and I need to finish editing. So sorry if the lighting is really weird, and I've got my oh, that feels so good. Irish breakfast, which is my current favorite for first thing in the morning. I did finish last night, Wuthering Heights. The only thing that I'm going to say, well, let's go into who's who, what's what, and where's where. I'm going to give you a little primer, and maybe this is something that other people know, but I just keeping everything straight. It starts with Mr. Lockwood, and he rides out to Wuthering Heights, and he meets Mr. Heathcliff, who is his landlord, because Mr. Lockwood is renting Thrushcross Grange, but I'll go into that. He's one of our primary narrators. I think he is the primary narrator, Mr. Lockwood, and he is not well received when he gets to Wuthering Heights. He meets Mr. Heathcliff, Mrs. Heathcliff, and Mr. Earnshaw, and Joseph, who's a servant. I still had a hard time understanding anything Joseph said. Like I said, he's not well received. They're very kind of rude. I know they're straight up rude to him when he comes. So for some reason, Mr. Lockwood decides to come back the next day, and he tells them he's going to come back, and they're like, no, don't come back. But he does. And because he walked this time and it started to snow, he had to stay. Because if you don't know where you're going and you can't see the road, you don't walk across the moors. And I learned that in American Werewolf in London. You don't go across the moors when you can't see the road. So he's obligated to stay the night, and they don't really have room for him. He has nightmares and he rushes home the next day and he talks to Mrs. Dean. Mrs. Dean is Ellen Dean. She's a servant. She's the housekeeper of Thrushcross Grange. She's also Nellie, and she grew up with everybody. And so she explains to him. And so she's our other narrator. And even when he's narrating, he's actually often saying what she said. So really it's Nellie that narrates the whole thing. So, 2 houses. Thrushcross Grange is a manor house with Mr. and Mrs. Linton. They have 2 kids, Edgar and Isabella, and they seem to be very happy and well adjusted. And then there's Wuthering Heights, and that's a farmhouse with the Earnshaws. Mr. and Mrs. Earnshaw have 2 kids, Hindley and Catherine. And when Mr. Earnshaw comes back from a trip, a business trip, he brings home an orphan that he found, and they name him Heathcliff. And I don't know if there were issues beforehand, but there are definitely issues afterwards. Hindley and Heathcliff do not get along. Heathcliff and Catherine are wild best friends, and they spend all their time getting up to all sorts of mischief. Nellie, the housekeeper, she's a child. All of the kids, Edgar, Isabella, Catherine, Hindley, Heathcliff, and Nellie, are of the same age, so they've all grown up with each other. Though the Lintons don't really come into it for a little while. So it's sort of the 4. And even though Nellie is a servant, she's raised, when she's little, she's sort of a play friend to the kids. So that's why she's a good narrator, because she knows all of the stuff from early days. So the whole first part of the book, because it is broken into 2, well, the narration was broken into 2 parts. My book, this didn't have it in 2 parts. So I'm guessing some do and some don't. In the audiobook, there were 2 parts. And the first part is going over the Linton kids and the Earnshaw kids. And part 2 is when they are adults and their kids growing up. Their kids are Hareton Earnshaw, who we met in the first chapter. Kathy Heathcliff, we met her in the first chapter. And not to be confused with Catherine. Catherine is the adult, the first generation. Kathy is the second generation. And then we meet Linton, has thoroughly disrupted many lives. He's just a vindictive person. He perceives anything and everything as a slight against him, and he seeks vengeance and has obsessions. It is dysfunctional. It was a journey. I'm not sure how much I liked it, and I think after reading the book, I really have almost no interest in seeing the movie. I can understand why I didn't get anything out of it when I was in high school. I'm glad I read it. I am really glad I read it. Did you read Wuthering Heights? And are you planning on seeing the movie? I probably will watch the movie. I just really don't have much interest in it right now, but we'll see. But I'd like to know if you're going to see it. So yeah, I think it's time for me to go and edit this video and put this video out. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye.